I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience. Get the heck. Get out.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Opinions Varied. That's Opinions with an A. Please like, share, and subscribe. And once again, I'm going to ask my subscribers, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm going to ask you to please like the video. Please put a comment. If you don't want to leave a comment about the video, just drop MAGA in the comments. It's helping me with the algorithm. I'm trying to grow the channel. YouTube has been pushing this content down. It'll go up, and it gets immediately shut down. Yesterday, I got a great response. Everybody liked the video. They put a comment, whether they commented about the video or they just put MAGA. It seemed to help. Let's see if it keeps working as we try to grow this channel and make conservative content get even more out there on this platform. Anyway, that what we just saw was a former NFL player. His name is Chris Kluwe, and he's not a Trump fan. In fact, he's got TDS to an extreme level. He's going to be interviewed by CNN, and then we're going to have an Abby Phillips roundtable, how Donald Trump, no matter what he does, will be a racist. And it's about Donald Trump's event that he had at the White House with Black History Month. You're going to have stone cold racist 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐢 on this panel. And this is why, as Tim Burchett says, why your ratings are in the tank, ma'am.
And that's why your ratings are in the tank, ma'am.
I'm the only one that watches CNN, and I bring it to you so we can get a good laugh. And we also should know what they're talking about, because it's always good to know what the opposite side is thinking. Without any further ado, let's go.
4 words on a plaque going up at a California library have thrown a city into the crosshairs of a political controversy. Those words: magical, alluring, galvanizing, and adventurous. The acronym, aka MAGA. Underneath those words is this quote: "Through hope and change, our nation has built back better to the golden era of Make America Great Again." Note the references to Obama's hope and change and Biden's Build Back Better, and of course, Trump's MAGA. Well, leaders in Huntington Beach approved the privately financed plaque, but not before one man spoke up against it. Watch.
MAGA stands for resegregation and racism. MAGA stands for censorship and book bans. MAGA stands for firing air traffic controllers while planes are crashing. MAGA stands for firing the people overseeing our nuclear arsenal.
All right, so you can see what I was saying, extremely Trump deranged. Everything he's saying is complete nonsense, unprovable, but he'll just spout it off, which is his right to do, I guess, in his allotted time at this meeting.
MAGA stands for firing military veterans and those serving them at the VA, including canceling research on veteran suicide. MAGA stands for cutting funds to education, including for disabled children. MAGA is profoundly corrupt, unmistakably anti-
Did he hit everybody there? Did he get every group in there? I'm not sure. We could go back and forget it. But I just want to make sure he got every possible group in there that MAGA is destroying.
Democracy, and most importantly, MAGA is explicitly a Nazi movement. You may have replaced a swastika with a red hat, but that is what it is. I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience.
That's former NFL punter Chris Kluwe. Police carried him off after he approached city council members. Kluwe says he was charged with a misdemeanor and held in custody for about 4 hours. You know what? Chris Kluwe joins me now. Chris, thank you for joining. Everyone has been talking about this moment, and I'm wondering, why did
Who's everyone? I just saw this today. I stumbled upon it as I'm looking for a topic to do, and this came up, and I see this guy, former NFL player, you know, marching up to there and getting arrested. I'm like, oh, let's see what he had to say. And boy, he had a lot to say, didn't he?
you decide to take this particular course of action?
Because it'd get me on
first
TV.
and foremost, it's because the Huntington Beach City Council does not care about the community of Huntington Beach. They've made it very obvious that their goal is to advance their own interests, to rise higher in Trump's sphere of influence. And you can see that by our city attorney, Michael Gates, leaving the city and being appointed to Trump's administration. So
right, because nobody from a Democrat, run city ever gets appointed to something in some Democrat president's administration, right? I mean, just ridiculous.
That's really a problem when a city council doesn't have its city's best interests in mind.
And why did this particular plaque?
No, they don't have your particular interests in mind. It has nothing. That doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have the best interests of the place they're representing in mind.
Spur this reaction more than say his leaving.
So for me, it's the fact that MAGA, as I said, is explicitly a Nazi ideology, and they are coming after trans rights. They're coming after resegregation and
what rights? What? Again, I'm going to ask the question, but Laura Coates, that's her name. Laura Coates is just going to sit there and say, hold on. What rights are being taken away from anybody? Everybody has equal rights in this country. That's the law. In fact, you just went up and peacefully protested, peacefully. You approached the podium, or I'm sorry, you approached that panel in, I would say, slightly aggressive manner, and you got arrested. So I'm sure you violated whatever the rules are that they have there, so you got arrested. But what rights are being taken away from groups of people that he's referring to? Can somebody please put that in the comments too? If somebody disagrees with me, put in the comments what rights have been taken away from anybody in this country.
Racism. Like they are tearing down our government because they can only see power for themselves and they don't care who they hurt to have to get it. And I feel that a political message like that is certainly not appropriate on a public library.
Shrinking the size of government, but at the same time, they're just, it's contradictory. Everything Trump's doing is trying to shrink the size of government, shrink overall government power, shrink overreach, shrink the fact that they're robbing us blind. Okay, for all their pet peeve projects and their money laundering operation that they've been doing for the past who knows how many decades behind our back. All right, that's all Trump's doing. The whole thing about Trump's a tyrant, Trump's an oligarch, Trump's a dictator. I'm not even going to entertain the Nazi thing. It's so old and tired, and they want to keep parading this out there, not even realizing again that it didn't work in 2024. In fact, it backfired on them even more. But this whole thing, Trump is shrinking government. He's an awful oligarch, especially somebody who also advocates for the citizenry to be armed. That's a terrible oligarch.
And let's face it, public libraries, they are apolitical places. There should be no political message on the public library. It's a space for everyone to come in, regardless of your political affiliation.
Then there should be no statues of any political figures at all in a library or in any public building. But there are.
People have really bristled at the notion of your statement about a MAGA being a, quote, Nazi movement. Some look at this as you painting an extremely broad brush when it comes to describing all of those who supported Trump and voted for him. What's your reaction to those who say that that is a highly offensive decision to even say that that's what you associate MAGA with?
I would say that during the 1930s, there were a lot of very good Germans who trusted Hitler and thought he had their best interests in mind. And
right, here we go again. Everybody who votes for Donald Trump, MAGA in the comments, MAGA in the comments, okay? You're all too stupid to know what's going on. You're the Germans of the 1930s. You're all too dumb, even though back then the way information got out was basically one person, you had AH standing on a podium yelling it out there, but now you're too dumb to take all the information you have access to make your own decision out. That's the other thing the left does. They're smarter than you. You're too stupid to realize you're stupid, but they'll help you. It's for your own good.
so they followed him because they believed that he would do the right thing for them. And then in 1946, there were a lot of very good Germans who had a lot of regrets. And I think right now there are a lot of good Americans who think Trump has their best interest in mind. But Trump clearly has his own interests in mind, and he does not care about anyone else. And I would rather not.
Guy has his own interest in mind. He could not be. What is he gaining from being the president? What is he gaining? They think he's doing it for personal gain. I think he's doing it, and many of you think he's doing it to help the country. What does Donald Trump gain personally from being the president of the United States at this stage of his life, especially?
See those people have regrets when the bodies stop falling and the blood stops being shed because they did the right thing now instead of waiting.
Stop. You're scaring everybody.
I am not somebody who thinks that you're only supposed to be outspoken on election day. You really vote throughout the course of your lives with every action that you take. And yet, the rhetoric you talk about and a lot of the criticism that you have for MAGA policies, they were stated before the election. Why do you think that did not resonate with voters?
Because people are smarter than you think. That's why. People want and exactly what's going on is what we voted for. That's what you still don't get. MAGA, you regret your MAGA vote yet? No, actually, I don't. This is exactly what I voted for. In fact, do more.
Because I don't think voters thought that he meant it. Again, Hitler promised what he was going to do. He explicitly laid out, Jews are the problem. I am going to get rid of them. That will make this country great. Trump has said immigrants are the problem. Trans people are the problem.
Illegal immigrants are the problem.
We are going to get rid of them, and that will make this country.
He's not saying he's getting rid of trans people. He just doesn't want men playing women's sports or men being in women's locker rooms. That is what he's saying. And when your side has gone so far crazy, you know what? The pendulum swings back. And now most of the country, in fact, probably 80 to 90% are backing Donald Trump and MAGA when they say, no men in women's sports, no men in women's locker rooms, and keep away from the children. That is just a 80, 20, 90, 10 issue. And it has nothing to do with getting rid of anybody.
Great. And It is very, very similar to what Hitler promised, and it's not going to make this country great. It's just going to make this country worse.
Let me just go back to the moment when you approached that podium. I understand your intention when you're walking up there. I understand you expected that your act and what you say was civil disobedience was going to land you with the police coming to you and being handcuffed. You stopped before you actually reached that podium. But
Yeah, walked up there pretty aggressively, but then you stopped. Yeah, but you know what? You're obviously not allowed to do that. If you do that, you get arrested, okay? It has nothing to do with free speech. He said whatever he wanted to say in the allotted time that he was given, and then he broke protocol and tried to go up to the panel. And no, you can't have that.
what has been the response to your action?
Overwhelmingly positive. I've had a lot of people reach out and say, thank you for standing up. Thank you for taking a stand. And I've had a lot of people, and I believe this as well, saying, I wish my elected officials were doing the same. And I have a message for our elected officials, particularly our Democratic elected officials, is that I've done my part. I've shown you how to do it. Now it's your turn, because you are the people that we elected, and you are the people that need to step up and stop this madness, because we have a man who put a crown on his head. And I can't think of anything more fundamentally un-American than a president wearing a crown. That goes against.
All right, I got to stop it right there. Again, like the video I did yesterday, if you didn't watch it, I'll put it up top, about 𝐾𝐨𝐧'𝐭, because Donald Trump trolled her with the king. The king lives, long live the king. Donald Trump is in these people's heads so badly that all logic just goes out the window. Like I said, everything's to the extreme. He's getting rid of trans. He's getting rid of this. Immigrants are the problem. They always do that. No, it's not immigrants. It's illegal immigrants. We always leave that word out. You ever notice that? That's so conveniently. Always leave the word out. And Laura Coates just sits there like this. Yep. And once again, that's why your ratings are in the tank, ma'am.
And that's why your ratings are in the tank, ma'am.
Anyway, let's get to another one whose ratings are in the tank, Abby Phillips. Always interesting. And they're really, really scraping the bottom of the barrel now. Let's go.
Also mentioned at the same time that there were going to be statues of Kobe Bryant and Muhammad Ali. So it just seems a little...
She's talking about Donald Trump and his event that he had at the White House with Black History Month. Apparently, he said he wants to have statues of Kobe Bryant, Muhammad Ali. Now, she doesn't like that, though. You'll see why.
Hypocritical that you would be doing everything in your power to sort of outlaw the teachings of what, say, a Muhammad Ali stood for. Like, are you going to tell people that he stood against war, that he stood against these very progressive civil rights issues? That doesn't seem to be the part of it. And what I noticed...
Doesn't seem to be? You just don't know, but you're going to assume it is just because you want to and to try to make your point.
From that clip is that he had to read letter by letter about what these people, what these great Americans have done in terms of progress for our country, because it's not something he's familiar with. And not
Donald Trump had to read. He had to read things, guys. So that means he's a racist, because he doesn't... Donald Trump knows... He knew Muhammad Ali personally. He knew him. So did you know Muhammad Ali, Jemele Hill? I don't know. Did you?
Something that is natural for him. So I consider this to be an insult, a slap in the face.
Of course.
And frankly, all the people that attended this, look, I guess God bless you if you've never been to the White House and maybe you looked at it as some kind of great experience. But everything this president has stood for and done.
Right. Again, you're too stupid to know you shouldn't have been at the White House for this. I guess you just went because, you want to go to the White House. Big deal. People, they're so elitist. The way they come off, these Democrats, is so condescending. Everything is condescending. You're stupid. Again, you're too stupid to know you're stupid.
In the last decade or so has been a complete rejection of what Black history is.
Abel, how do you square what Jemele is saying there?
Look up the First Step Act, Jemele Hill.
That this White House, this administration has spent so much time, especially in the last month, denigrating diversity as even a concept. And
no, they're denigrating DEI, not diversity.
Actually, let me just go ahead and play this, because I think it's instructive to hear exactly what they have been saying. Listen.
I think the single dumbest phrase in military history is our diversity is our strength.
He's 100% right. I don't care who's in the military as long as they can fight. I don't care. I honestly don't care. And the thing with the trans in the military, where it went too far, is that while you're in the military, you want to change, and then we have to pay for that, and you're not battle ready for who knows how long while you have these surgeries. That's, again, where you went too far, and then the pendulum swings back, and then it becomes, you know what? We don't even want to entertain it anymore because it's causing too many problems. It's kind of like when people now, when they see pronouns on somebody's resume, a lot of people, I guess bosses or, people who run companies, they don't even want to look at that resume or interview that person because they know that person's going to cause problems because their pronouns are important to them. Instead of just everything we've been living with for the past billion years. Now, if somebody doesn't call this person around right pronoun, I'm going to have a problem on my hands as an employer. So guess what? I don't even want to touch it. And that's what's happened. It's gone so crazy. That's what happened.
Son is in a public school. He takes a class called African American History. If you're running an African American history class, could you perhaps be in violation of this court order, of this executive order?
I'm not quite certain, and I'd like to look into it further and get back to you on that.
She couldn't answer the question because she said, I don't know. It's probably not, but she doesn't know. She's not going to give you an answer. Just that she doesn't know the answer to the question. She doesn't know the answer to the question. She's not going to give it to you.
We have DEI in water coolers and universities. I disagree with that. But lives aren't impacted with DEI at universities. It is impacted here. I just want the best and the brightest, keeping Americans safe.
That's it.
Okay, so you say that, and then you throw a Black History Month event, and people are supposed to then say, well, it all doesn't matter. He really does care about the history of this country, which...
What does that have to do with Black History Month? What does DEI have to do with Black History Month and Donald Trump throwing an event for Black History Month? It has nothing to do with it, but somehow we'll shoehorn it into this narrative on Abby Phillips' show to say Donald Trump's a racist. Hey guys, if you're still watching, I really appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the like button right now. Subscribe. I do one video a day at least. If I don't do one video, it's because of circumstances that were beyond my control and I couldn't get it done. But please like, share, and subscribe and help me grow this channel. I appreciate it.
Includes people. It's Black History Month today and this month, but it could be Hispanic History Month, Women's History Month, all these diverse people.
Absolutely.
So if you're Hispanic or if you're a woman, you're diverse. The only people that I see separating people are you, Abby Phillips. I see a woman, I don't go, oh, look at that woman, how diverse. Oh, I got a friend, I got plenty of friends, right? Oh, he's Hispanic, he's diverse. What the hell are you talking about?
Daddy, chill.
What are Americans supposed to think?
I mean, look, President Trump is not a traditional politician. I mean, he never has been, he never will be. So today when we saw the celebration in the White House, I thought that was a beautiful ceremony. I thought it was a packed house there.
With all stupid people, according to Jamel, because, she just thinks that everybody there doesn't know any better.
I mean, Tiger Woods, I can go on and on of all the people that were there.
She does not like Tiger Woods, and we all know why.
He made it very clear today, Abby. He said, Black Americans are legends. I'm going to put some statues up. Kobe Bryant.
But he's governing in exactly the opposite way.
What are you talking about? How? By getting rid of DEI? By getting rid of something that is completely toxic and that is against the law, that is against the Constitution? Do you not realize that? And everything against everything that Martin Luther King Jr. he gave his life for? It's against everything that he gave his life for.
I think what he's trying to do is, on one end, he knows he's got a huge deficit. He's trying to make cuts and move the business.
Honestly, this guy's argument, it's just weak. It's just ridiculous. Put me in that seat, please.
I'm not talking about the cuts. I'm talking about the denigration of people based on this idea of DEI. They tried to blame a plane crash on diversity.
Yeah, I don't actually agree with that, to be very.
Yeah, I don't know if it had anything to do with that either, but I'd like to know who was behind behind looking at the radar screen when that happened. I'd like to know.
Very sincere with you. I think he looks at DEI more of a, let's put that aside and let's do everything on merit. He's made it very clear. He's talked about merit all along. So I really think, Abby, that
Democrats don't like merit. They hate meritocracy.
What happened today was a beautiful thing.
So I don't. So I think he's trying to gaslight us. I mean, come on, man. You have got to be kidding.
So he didn't have it. If he didn't.
No, he's not kidding. But, of course, he's just gaslighting us. He's lying. It's just a lie.
No, he's trying to gaslight us. First, he said he doesn't want anybody in government to celebrate Black History Month. And then he says, okay, I'm going to put on an event about Black History Month, and I'm going to be the speaker. There aren't any Black people, really saying anything about what's happening with him. He tried to use DEI as literally a racial slur against us, as if Black people are benefiting from anything in this country and getting anything we're not qualified for and don't have to work twice as hard for.
No, see, what DEI does, moron, is it puts people in a position to have to defend why they got a job. That's what it does. And I've said this before. I'll give you this example. It's completely not real, but here's an example. Somebody with rainbow-colored hair comes in for an interview, right? Comes in for an interview for the job of air traffic controller. And maybe once they walk in, the person that's doing the interview maybe does a double take and then says, okay, sit down. And the person kills the interview. I mean, awesome. Great candidate. And now they get the job because They were outstanding. They're qualified. They answered every question perfectly. They seem to know what they're doing. They'd be a great air traffic controller, and that's what we want, right? We don't want planes crashing into each other, right? They get the job. Because of DEI, that person is going to be looked at as a DEI hire. Before the existence of DEI, they were just looked at as somebody who's really good at their job who has rainbow-colored hair. Do you get it? That's what DEI did. It is toxic, and it is illegal, and it will destroy any society that is allowed to flourish in.
Black people have to live in the real world. When the cops come, we're scared because we might not come out of it alive. We walk into a store, if they let us in, we're followed around.
Hey, listen, there are millions of encounters per day with police and everybody in this country. Millions. This false narrative about it's just enough already. It's old. It's tired. Nobody's listening to it anymore. But CNN, that's why your ratings are in the tank, ma'am.
And that's why your ratings are in the tank, ma'am.
We don't get loans when we have the same credit score as everybody else because we're black. We have to live in the real world. You can't gaslight.
If that's the case, then the person denying you that because you're black should be prosecuted. I absolutely, 100%. Now bring me a case where that has happened and prosecute the person who's doing that.
Like us. We know reality when we see it. This is not real. This is a joke. That's what that is.
I mean, Tiger Woods was speaking at the podium today.
Tiger Woods said he's 𝐃𝐨𝐽.
Right. I thought he would be there for the compilation.
Come on, man.
Tiger Woods doesn't count. No, he's not. No, Tiger Woods doesn't count.
One of the things also, apparently the Defense Department's getting ready to make some cuts. We talked about it earlier. One of the cuts rumored to be happening is of 𝐃𝐭 Brown, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, shockingly a black man.
Abby Phillips, you know what? You're a stone cold racist too. You're a race baiter. You're a hustler. You're a charlatan. You're one of the people who wants to divide the country. It's really sad. That's why your ratings are in the tank, ma'am.
And that's why your ratings are in the tank, ma'am.
This is not surprising to me because I know the conversation in MAGA world about that. But the idea that maybe one of the first acts of the new defense secretary would be to ask the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, who is a black man, who a Republican senator just today said has done a very good job, and he would be surprised to hear if he were eliminated.
Yeah, Mike Rounds, another one who just should shut up sometimes. Mike Rounds, you're not the Secretary of Defense. In fact, you voted for Pete Hegseth, so maybe if you voted for him, you'll trust his judgment, right? He's the Secretary of Defense now. He could fire whoever he wants.
In some of these cuts, Kevin Cramer said a month ago that he knows 𝐃𝐭 Brown pretty well. They've had disagreements, but he thinks he's doing a great job. Why would this even be a conversation?
Maybe because Pete Hegseth thinks so. That's why. He's the Secretary of Defense. He gets to hire and fire people.
Well, I think Hegseth has sort of changed his tune on it a bit. They seem to be working together in the early onset, right after his confirmation. He gave him a vote of approval out loud to the press corps. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to jump to a conclusion on that. And also, I hope that even if we have political disagreements with somebody in history, a figure of history, we can still recognize their greatness. And I think
enough. Lindsey Graham made enough. Look who's on there, representing Republicans. Without Scott Jennings, you don't have a chance. He's the only one that he would have brought more of what I was saying to that conversation, I think, but he wasn't there for some reason. And you know what? Good for him. Good for him. Anyway, put MAGA down in the comments. Like I said, please like the video, especially if you hear this long. This is a little bit of a long one. I appreciate you guys so much. Just the comments that I do get that are actually about the video. So many good points are made, and stuff that I didn't think of, and I really appreciate it. And I just appreciate you watching. I have like 2,400 subscribers now. Let's make that grow. Let's grow this channel. There are so many awesome conservative commentators out there that are huge channels, and I love those guys too. And the more we have, the better, because we're going to need it. We're going to need it. Everything's great right now, but guess what? History tells us it's not going to stay as great as it is now. There's always something that could happen. So the more voices we have that have a nice reach, the better. And I'm trying to be one of those people. So if you could help me out with that, I would appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time right here at Opinions Vary.
Opinions vary.